It's a brand new year and I've got a roundup of every single thing I sewed in 2020. Lots of sewing inspiration coming your way. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I've been preparing for this video for days. Actually, it's taken many days to put all this together. I have done a similar video like this every single year, a roundup of all the makes of the previous year, and it seems to be that I am multiplying or have several of me because I seem to be sewing more and more every year that goes by. I'm certainly sewing more since I started my sewing channel than I used to in the past when I was just sewing for myself privately. Anyway, before we jump into the roundup of all the makes from 2020, I wanted to let you know that Love Notions is having a 30% off site-wide sale for the new year from the 4th to the 8th. And on the 8th, it finishes at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's when the sale finishes. So if you've been waiting to get your favorite patterns when there's a big sale going on, now is the time. I have a ton of resources here on the channel. My playlist, ever growing, has 77 videos of Love Notions makes. I will link that down below if you want some more inspiration, some more information about your favorite pattern. Every single one of these videos has sewing tutorials in there, shows you how to sew the pattern or how to do certain hacks. It's all very practical, so I'll leave that down there for you. And if you want to use my affiliate link as a way to support my work, you're very welcome to, and I would be very appreciative. I make a small commission from there, and it's one of the ways I make an income doing what I do, providing free content here on YouTube. So if you use my link, thank you so much. Now back to the roundup of 2020. I made so many things, way more than 2019. I think it's got to do with my obsession about sometimes making multiples. Sometimes I'm making a pattern and I like it so much I make it twice at the same time, or 3 times even. And you know, it adds up, it all adds up. And as a disclaimer, if you want to comment here and tell me that I don't need to do all this, that why am I sewing so much, because I have received those comments in the past. I am not a hobby sewist. I am not sewing for my own needs. Actually, I am sewing because I have a sewing channel and I need to have the content. That means making a lot of garments. You know, all my videos revolve around sewing. I rarely make videos that are not about sewing or where I just talk about sewing. So that means that as a side effect of me showing tutorials, it means that I am making garments and I am making them for myself. It's not that I need them all, but I do make them because this is my job. I hope you can understand that explanation. Otherwise, get comfortable, get yourself something to drink. It is a long video, it usually is. You know, you don't have to watch it all, you can just watch parts of it, of course. And I've always been told that they're very helpful. Some of you have told me you take notes for things that you're interested in seeing. And you know, you'll see videos and images here of all the makes. It's very easy to find them all if you just type Lifting Pins and Needles and then the pattern name on the YouTube search, and you will find my videos straight away. So let's hop into it. I'll be going chronologically from January to December. January sewing is usually chill for me because I was at my parents' house and I showed the video of the updated laundry they tee. Had a full sizing update and I made one for my sister-in-law during testing. Hers is a sleeveless scoop neck dress, and for myself I made the dress version as well, but with short sleeves and the V neckline. In this video you can see a step-by-step tutorial on how to sew a V neckband in full detail, and it always works really well. I love this dress, I've worn it a billion times this year. Then the next make was a Rhapsody blouse lengthened into a dress. This is a hack. This was before there was actually a dress version in this pattern. It's nice and loose without the belt, and instead of the bias binding that goes on the neckline, I just drafted a necktie and sewed that on with a little facing on that V. Super nice dress, super comfortable to wear. I made my sister-in-law a denim skirt that I drafted from her measurements. It's way faster to do it like that for me. Little pleats at the back. This was on her request. She wanted something like this that was fitted but with pleats at the back. and I drafted a yoke and an exposed zipper. I think it looks amazing. February has me back home and sewing some more, now back in my own environment. This is the Sabalito top from Each to Stitch. It's a pattern for wovens. I really like the style. It's got a really interesting crossover with a knot on the front. You can probably see it better on Kenneth than on me with my crepe print. This has a long dolman sleeve and I shortened mine by 7.5 inches because it's just more practical for my weather, and I'm really sad I haven't gotten around to making this again as a dress because there is a waist seam with a little peplum there. Could easily become a dress. Really like it. Such a unique design. The Canterbury skirt from Style Arc is a really nice skirt, asymmetric. It's got a fitted waist and hips with a yoke, and then under that comes a very big asymmetric piece. I love hems like that, especially in a flowy crepe like this. There is a side zipper on the hip so you can get in and out. Super lovely. I thought, why can't I make this in a knit? I just sized down, I eliminated the zipper, and I just put on a waistband, and I had a lot of fun playing with stripes. And I think you can sew a skirt like this if your knit is drapey and stretchy. About the waistband, this knit did not have the recovery to hold the skirt up on its own, so there is an elastic in there. The Sonata dress was actually the first pattern I tested for Love Notions back in 2018, and I made it again last year in 2020 in this red and black crepe. Super pretty. It is an empire cut, almost empire, slightly lower than that, and at the back of the skirt there's an elastic and it's really comfortable, really easy to fit that way. There are cup sizes here and I made a C cup, and in this case I used leftover linen from a refashion project to make the facings exposed, which is an option of the pattern. Just takes a little bit of extra care, and I've filmed everything and shown you how to do that. Then I wanted to make just a standard woven tee, and I took the top part of the bodice, kept the side bust darts but eliminated the darts that went under the bust and just made it wider towards the waist and the hips. Very nice because on the top it fits just like the Sonata, nice and fitted at the upper chest and bust. I added some darts on the back for a little bit of shaping, and it's a wonderful woven tee to wear. Has the same exposed facings with linen. Really like making that. Butterick 6680 is a pretty fitted knit dress. I made mine in rayon spandex. I made a size 20 and I blended out to a 22 on the hips. I was supposed to make a size 20, but I didn't really want to have negative ease around the bottom of the skirt that cuts right at the middle of the hip. I wanted there to be a bit more ease than what the pattern had. I did lower this neckline and make it wider scoop neckline. The original was way too high. There is a ruched side on the left side of your body that has elastic inside. I made some La Belladonna tops. This is the pattern before it was updated later in the year. The original La Belladonna still fit me fine, and I made this one in rayon spandex. This was my muslin just to check some things about the fit, and then I went and made two in different types of knit. This blue and black one is an athletic knit. This pattern is so lovely to sew. It's so easy. It's just side seams, those dolman sleeves, and a cuff on the edge. I did make changes to the way I finished the necklines for all these versions, with binding, with bands, all those things. I had a lot of fun with that. And I also lengthened the pattern to make it into a dress because I didn't have enough of this fabric to make the dress as long as I wanted it to be worn with a belt. I created a yoke piece on the front and the back in a contrast black just for visual interest and to add some length to the fabric amount I had. I really like the La Belladonna. I think it's a really nice, easy pattern to sew up. And later in the year, I've done so many hacks to it. The Talon dress from Each to Stitch, I have to say, makes it into my top 3 favorite of 2020. Just because of the amount of times I've worn these. I have them on rotation. I probably wear them once a week at least, one of these two that I made. I made a sleeveless version which is not an official view. The dress has long sleeves, and I finished them with binding in a contrast jersey that looks like leather. I think it looks really pretty. It's so nice. It's got princess seams. It fits so well. It's not tight, but it still follows my shape, and every time I wear it I feel really nice. So this is my rayon spandex version, and with this one I did keep the sleeves but I just made them shorter, just much more wearable for me that way than to have a long sleeve dress, especially since I was making this in February and it was very hot. Let's hop into March, and the first make I've shown here is the Matilda dress from Megan Nielsen. and I've shared a summary here showing how to sew all these details in reverse. I love this design. It's a lot of pattern pieces, fitted bodice with a curved waistband that fits really well at my waist, front and back. Big patch pockets that don't create bulk at the hips. I really like that. And this is a linen cotton blend. The only adjustment I made was to make the skirt a tiny bit shorter, just an inch. Simplicity 1668 are these very basic pair of pants or shorts, just 2 pieces, an elastic that goes into an integrated casing all around the top, and I filmed a beginner friendly sew along. Surprisingly, this is one of my most viewed videos in the channel, and that is why I made the pant fitting series based on this video, because I think everyone liked to see how to make pants. So that was the beginning of that, and these are just a longer pair that I made cropped. Super comfy pants, very basic. The Harmony blouse from Love Notions is a basic swing top with a side buster, and I took that buster and put all that volume into the neckline to have gathers there. I made a facing with a tie in between to create those gathers based on a ready-to-wear top I wanted to recreate for ages. There you can see it with my Allegro pants, and you can see how beautiful the gathers look. You can see the details much better with the solid linen rayon fabric that I have there. The Heidi Day dress from Wearable Studio, I've made 2 of these in collaboration with my friend Kristen from the Dahlia Society, and it's a sundress with thick straps, drafted for a CD cup size, quite a large buster there, and I had to give them a bit of a concave shape. They have ties that go into the back, little pleats that there is there, and then you tie it up at the front. For my second one that I made in a rayon twill, I did it the opposite way. I put the ties in the front so that they can tie at the back. Huge print on this one, massive print. I think it's a perfect design for this because there's very few seam lines in this style, so the huge flowers don't really get cut up or interrupted much at all there. The Melody Dolman is a favorite of mine from Love Notions. It is a blouse or shirt, and I lengthened it to my shirt dress of dreams in a blue tencel twill that looks like denim. I added tons of details here, patch pockets, little flaps on the pocket, tabs on the sleeves, lots of beautiful top stitching. I straightened out the hem there, and I've paired it with a brown belt. I put lots of metal buttons, a very satisfying make, and I have all the details on the blog at Love Notions if you want to see more about that one. The Castillo cardigan from Itch to Stitch is super cool. I made it in this really heavy textured knit. I have no idea what it is. There are slits on the side, raglan sleeves, long sleeves, patch pockets with a hood. I had to improvise on the way to finish the hood with a replacement for twill tape that I didn't have. I used denim for that, and it turned out really nice. A really nice cardigan with a really nice hood. Really enjoyed that project. Butterick 6684 are actually blouses with necktie options on the front. There's 2 types of necklines here, and I've made them both into dresses though, and I did film how to sew these 2 types of necklines. This is a chiffon with a Swiss dot detail, super pretty, super sheer. I have a slip underneath. The neckline finish is super pretty. I love those necktie features on any pattern. I always like sewing them. I think they're really nice. And my other one is made in a crinkle chiffon in brown and beige. It's a different type of neckline, also with a necktie. Also lengthened it into a simple top. These end up looking like shift dresses. Not much shaping going on. There are some side bust studs, but nothing around the waist. They are just very loose and very comfortable to wear, and I really liked making those. The Vivace Dolman from Love Notions was a really firm favorite in 2020. I made several of these. These are the ones I made for testing. That overlap V neckline with the front pleats is really nice. Dolman sleeves. It's drafted to be made with knits or woven. You have separate pattern pieces for that, and this is my rayon spandex version. I also made a floaty chiffon version. Turned out a little bit shorter than what I was expecting, as you can see. Very loose fitting and nice to wear with a slip underneath. Really like this style, and I made it several more times during the year, as you will see later on. The Tessa sheath dress is a really firm favorite. The skirt originally has an A-line shape, then I just straightened it. For this version I made a lot of fun color blocking and fully lined it. I chose all the colors that I like, did some length adjustments. All in all, a really fun project that was part of my dreams, just to create something different like that from a dress that I already know fits me because I've made this one before in 2019. I ended the month with McCall's 8031. This is a woven dress made out of a heavy crepe with stripes, shirt dress, lots of lovely details, a camp collar, hatch pockets, little flaps on the bust. And I sewed the whole thing from start to finish for Patreon sew along. Really enjoyable project, and I was a bit shocked to find some issues with the pattern, some errors in the undercollar. I never expected to find that in a big 4 pattern, but there you go. I honestly don't know how I got so many things sewn in the month of April. It's insane. I probably didn't sleep. I made 5 Sybil Illusion skirts. These are easy makes actually. I made them very quickly, maybe in 2 afternoons. This is the pencil skirt option in a ponte with butterflies, and it's got a really comfy yoga waistband on the top. This one is made out of a lace. It was a leftover piece from another project, and I always knew I had enough for a little skirt like this. It is totally transparent because it is lace, so there is some blue ITY underneath there. The next one is asymmetric wrap skirt that's included in this pattern. There's so many skirt options in this pattern, and I used a performance athletic knit that didn't have the same type of print everywhere, so I played with that, and I have a lot of stripes crossing over and flowers inside. This is a refashion. I bought an oversized scuba skirt in Chile. I just unpicked it and made it again into a pencil skirt. It's so comfortable and I love the colors there. The next one is a dropped yoke with a flounce, and I really like this. I made a matching La Belladonna from the scrap that was left over. I think this one just looks amazing and it feels amazing on. It's a double brush poly, super comfortable. The Eddystone jeans have been probably one of my favorite pants this year. Non-stretch denim, the fit is so good. A girlfriend fit, I made a size 14. I did have to make some length adjustments to the legs and to the rise. That is pretty standard for me. These have softened up to my body and I have worn them so much this year. You've probably seen them styled with many other things I made later on during the year. They are reaching my waist. They have the nice pockets, all the nice top stitching, all the bells and whistles, you know. Very nice pair of jeans. Highly recommend this pattern. I made the Forte dress. This pattern from Love Notions has a lot of options and the sizing was updated. And I chose one that has an asymmetric bodice, and I chose to do the front with a floaty chiffon. The back of the dress is the same rayon spandex as the bodice, and I think it turned out super good. It was a good experiment to try. So you can certainly mix these up, knit and woven like that. You can see the back is made in a knit. It's a very unique floaty dress and I really enjoyed making it. I really like the asymmetric way that the bodice hits higher in the center and goes under the bust, lower in the sides. Another project I had fun with mixing woven and knit was the title top. I made the whole top in knit rayon spandex, but the front panel with the princess seams, it's a leftover scrap from another dress I had. It's just a piece of crepe. I think it looks really cool, makes this top extra special. Just a step up from a basic t-shirt, and those princess seams I really like. I think they're really cool. You can have fun mixing and matching leftover prints that you might have. With my friend Kira from Island Socialist, we both made the page hoodie from Chalk and Notch. I made a size 12 in a CD cup size. I wanted mine to be a little dressy so that I could wear it with a skirt like you can see here. I chose a really nice athletic knit fabric. It's not hoodie material, it's suplex, so it's lighter weight, very appropriate for my weather. The end of the hoodie has some grommets, and it was the first time I ever did that. I have attempted doing that, so that was very exciting. The hood is lined. I lined mine with rayon spandex in brown that I had in my stash. I have worn it a lot this winter when it was cold here. I had made a pair of Pietra pants in 2019 that was sort of a fail. I made it again this year. I sized down, I lowered the waistline, and I made these capri length in just a heavyweight quilting cotton. Super nice fit. I really like these pants. They're very comfortable, very fun to make. And the next one, that was a refashion. I had a lightweight denim skirt, quite a large skirt with a gathered waistband. It was quite a lot of fabric, and I was able to cut shorts from there, and the way I made it work was by adding a center seam on the back. Pockets are super fun to construct. There is a facing on the front. The Sumeko dress from Pattern Union is a really unique style. It's a knit dress that is sleeveless, has optional darts front and back, and the only main seam that you sew apart from the two shoulder seams is a center back seam. That's all. There's no side seams. and the way it's drafted, that's enough to get the shaping that you need. It's a dress I've worn a lot during lockdown. Obviously, it's very comfortable. And then I wanted to make another one. I made one in a black and white ITY knit with sort of like a rose print. It's the same thing. It's a very interesting pattern if you really want a simple, easy sew. That takes you like half an hour to make. I had brought some lovely blouses from Chile, from thrift shops. They were a couple sizes larger than I was, and I knew that I could resize them. One way to do that easily is placing pattern pieces on top of something you've already made. So basically, all you leave there is the collar and the shoulder seams that you don't take away, but you do unpick all the rest of the blouse so you can lay it flat and lay your pattern pieces. So I have my dart from the Cadence blouse from Love Notions. That's a top I've already made before and I know fits, while keeping the original features of the button down and the collar stand and the collar. And then I had another one that was a little wider actually, and that's why I was able to place the Harmony blouse on top. The Harmony blouse is more of a swing style, so it's wider at the waist and the hips, and that's how I was able to resize this other one while keeping the button down, the collar stand and the collar, just adapting it to a nice sleeveless shape there with the bust dart that I already know fits me because I have already made these two patterns. Really fun way to resize things when you've found some things in the thrift shop. The Kawaii is actually a top. I made some in 2019. I always knew I wanted to lengthen it into a dress, so I did that. I had to add a center back seam to save fabric. Because I did that, I took the chance to add some shaping at the back, and I can wear this with a belt or without. It's very nice and easy to wear. Lovely dress. Love Notions went through a big update on one of their most popular patterns, the Rhapsody blouse and dress. It was totally redrafted and updated to sizing up to 5X. This time there is an official dress option there. I had made dresses in the past just by hacking the blouse. This one has a bodice and a separate skirt with an elastic casing. And I cheated a little bit because this dress is for woven fabrics. I made this one in a rayon spandex, and I'm telling you, if you don't have patience, don't try it because it was a bit fiddly to work with, especially that little V neckline there with the binding. And then I made one in one of my most beautiful silky chiffons that I've been holding for years in this green and brown tone, so floaty. I have a slip underneath, and I just think this is one of the most elegant, beautiful dresses I have in my wardrobe. It's so beautiful. I put it on and I feel all sophisticated for some reason. I'm ending the month with the Zamora blouse from Itch to Stitch. This is a blouse that has super interesting pin tucks that I showed how to sew very neatly, and a necktie on the center. The V neckline is quite low, but the tie covers it. There are some darts everywhere and a curved hem. Really nice little cuff there with a little bit of gathers on the sleeves. I filmed the whole sewing of this blouse for Patreon, and then I made an easier, simplified version from a request I had from Patreon, which was to make it without the necktie because the neckline was quite low. I raised it and drafted a new neckline and finished the neckline inside with bias tape that I made from the same fabric. And I also made shorter sleeves with a cuff. That was a little hack too because I didn't have enough fabric. This print is so pretty. It's like a border print, and I left the blue sections in the center and the flowers on the side. It's a very, very cool print that makes the blouse look extra special. Super love it. Here is another intense month, the month of May, and I started sewing a free pattern from Peppermint magazine, the button-up dress. It is a loose sort of fitting dress with princess seams. I had to lower that bust point. I have a tutorial about that. I also added a casing to the waist to give it some shaping. I actually sewed the casing on the dress itself. It's not that there's a separate bodice, and there's lots of lovely buttons there. I'd wanted to do this from a dress I saw on Pinterest inspiration, and I really like how that turned out. I did a lot of little things like top stitching the princess seams and the armholes, everything with that tan colored thread. I think it looks really nice on the green. Super nice. I love this make. Then I got the Luna Nightwear collection from Love Notions. I used the nightgown pattern, which is like a strappy cami as well, and I just made a slip from that. I needed a black slip. I also made the same thing with a brown rayon spandex, so I've got two of them. And the cool thing about these is that I made the necklines reversible, so I've got a V neckline on one side and a rounder neckline on the other, and I can just switch them around and wear them, you know, to the front or to the back. So depending on what I'm wearing on top, I can have different slip necklines there. I tend to wear the V neckline more because it's a little deeper, but super fun make. and I really needed these couple of slips. The ready-to-wear ones I had are just super short, and sometimes when I make really sheer things, it looks like I'm wearing like a mini dress, a mini skirt. I always wanted to make regular dresses with this pattern as well, like with a regular print knit with binding instead of fold over elastic. I made the free ninja leggings from 5 out of 4 patterns in this camo print with grey tones. That's the only way I would wear camouflage print. Super comfy leggings. They have a curved waistband, and I didn't need to do any fitting adjustments. I like that length at my calf, and the waistband hits high enough for them to be comfortable, at least for my body, so I'm happy with that. I made the free Valley knit dress from Sinclair Patterns, and it's a really nice dress to be free. I'm quite amazed because it's got so many nice features. You know, there's the petite, regular and tall file. I made the tall file size 14, and it's got a really lovely full skirt with pleats and a separate waistband there that I use contrast fabric for. Now, I made a mistake when I was cutting my pattern, and I thought I'd cut out the scoop neckline, but I cut a higher one, so that ended up being higher than what I usually wear. I made the Constellation hoodie from Love Notions, and actually I did a huge hack here. Instead of having a half zipper, I just did a full zipper hack, and it's fully lined in a knit that's super light. You can see it's so clean inside with the rib knit, and it's clean there on the edge of the hood. The zipper is enclosed inside. So this is actually just a Constellation jacket, and I'm very proud of how that turned out. I really like that hood. As a Mother's Day gift, my son let me make him something because it's getting really hard to do that now, and he actually even allowed me to take some pictures, which I think are the last ones I'll ever take. And I made him the men's version of the Constellation. It's called North Star, in this really cool sweater knit. I did some color blocking with some gray tones, and it's a really fun hoodie that he's been wearing the whole year. He really liked it, and I really liked it, and we also got some pictures together. As I said, it's getting really hard to get this to happen, and now that he's a teenager, so I'll treasure these pictures. I think they're really cute. I made the Hera wrap top, and this is a free pattern from Wardrobe by Me. I really like how this turned out. I made a size 14. I didn't need to do any fitting adjustments at all, and it's got a bodice that crosses over, and there is an elastic casing at the waist that brings it in. Very comfortable to wear, and I think it's a really nice floaty feminine style. Here you can see it up closer how that crosses over. The neckline is finished with a really neat facing. I really like that. There is a good crossover there in the front, and I don't need to put a pin on with this wrap style at all. Even if it's a woven, I can just wear it comfortably. That bodice hits right at my waist. I love those little flutter sleeves that are actually cap sleeves because they only cover partially the armhole. The rest of the armhole underneath is finished with a piece of bias binding that you make from the same fabric. It just covers the top of your arm, and it looks like you're wearing sleeves, but it's sort of sleeveless as well. I was part of the pattern test for the Allegro bottoms from Love Notions. They were completely redrafted and the sizing updated. I did test only the skirt in this opportunity. I made a size 14. I had to add quite a lot of length for it to hit above my knee. It's a really comfy pull-on skirt with an elasticated waistband with slash pockets. Love that. I then decided to make a hack, and I used the same skirt pieces, everything the same, but I added like a fake button band on the front to hide a sneaky seam I had to use with the denim, or else it wouldn't have fit into my fabric. So I'm very happy with that hack. It's a really nice denim skirt, and instead of putting the elasticated waistband, I put it on a comfy yoga waistband. I can't avoid doing that. Last year I made the maxi version of the Allegro skirt, and I wore it once or twice, but I'm just not me in a maxi skirt. It's just not my thing, so I cut it shorter, and with the amount that I had cut off the bottom, I added this asymmetric ruffle all around the hem, shorter in the front, longer in the back. That was a really fun hack to do on my own, me-made, that I'd made previously. A friend gifted me the fuller cardigan pattern for my birthday, and I came to make it when it got cold in my May. And I made it into a hack. I lengthened it, I added slits on the side, I added piping in the middle of those raglan seams and on the cuffs. You can see the slit there. I really like this hack. It turns into a cardigan actually. And that's the way I like cardigans, because I don't wear coats. These are like my coats for my weather. So you can see there on the cuffs the fake piping that I used, fake leather jersey that matched the same color. And I've also got it there on the raglan seams. I think it looks super pretty. I really like this pattern. It uses a facing instead of a band, and I really like that. It also has a bust dart, which is amazing. The best thing about a long cardigan is that you can wear it over dresses that turned out too short, like this one, and it just covers your legs. The daisy from Sinclair Patterns is a firm favorite. It's so beautiful. And now this one has all the sizing from 0 to 30. It has cup sizes. I was very confident to sew this. Here I added an extra cuff. Instead of using a casing with elastic, I like a little loose cuff on my wrist instead of elastic on my wrist. It's a really sensitive area for me, and this blouse is just so beautiful in chiffon. I have a little cami underneath, and you can see the binding on the neckline with those beautiful pleats there. There's also these little pleats on the top of the sleeve cap, which I think are very delicate, very feminine, and this is just the dream blouse. It's so beautiful. I really like this pattern from Sinclair. In June it seems like I have less makes, but actually I was deep into the pad fitting series, and these are the Balboa skirts from Itch to Stitch. There's 1,000 options in this pattern, so many views, so many options, and this is the 2-tiered flounce type skirt that I made in rayon spandex. Super floaty, very nice to wear, and they all have elasticated waistbands. For knit fabrics, they just pull on very comfortable. This one that you see now is the same type of skirt, only I used scraps. I have a black layer, a stripy layer, and a red layer, and I think it's a really cool skirt. I have worn it, people look at it. I don't know if they love it or hate it, but I really like it. It's just really unique, and I did match the stripes there on the sides, if you can tell. This is a handkerchief skirt. It's asymmetric, got a lot of volume and the same type of waistband. I love this print, it's so pretty. And the fourth one is a mix. I mixed several views here. I just used like a pencil skirt on the front, and then at the back I have a flounce only on the back. Nice stretchy waistband, very comfortable. This is an athletic knit. This is the Sunday romper, but there's also a dress version. Of course I made the dress version because I just can't get myself to wear rompers. I've tried, believe me, and it's not a garment for me. So I'm glad there's a dress version here. You can put a skirt onto the bodice instead. I mixed these, and I've got rayon spandex on the top, and at the bottom I have a crinkle chiffon with texture. I really like how that looks. There's enough space for the skirt to be a woven at the bottom if you want to. There's enough ease. What I like the most about this one is how comfy it is with that elasticated casing on the waist. Very comfortable. And for the pretty factor, you have 2 V necklines in the front and the back. Dolman sleeves that are super easy to sew. I made another one with a combination of rayon spandex with a print on the bodice and a black skirt, just for something different. It sort of looks like I've tucked a top into a skirt like that, and I really like it. I've worn this one so much this year. I can't even count the times, just because it's so comfortable. I'm sure the romper is just as comfortable. It's just not for me, and you know, if rompers aren't for you, this pattern has a dress option, so that's awesome. The Summer Basics originally has a tank for all its views. There are no sleeves here, so I borrowed the armhole and sleeve of the willow wrap dress and transferred that armhole onto this bodice, and then used that sleeve. And perfect solution to have nice long sleeves on this dress. That's super cool. It is an empire cut line on the bodice, and then you have like an A-line skirt that has enough volume. I finished the neckline with a band, as you can see there, and on this specific dress I lined the bodice. I have 2 layers of rayon spandex on the bodice. I like doing that when I'm working with lightweight knits. And I've got a 3/4 length sleeve that's nicely fitted. Doesn't have to be just for summer if you add on a sleeve like I did. This is the Poesi top and dress from Sinclair Patterns. It's like a peasant style with raglan sleeves. A lot of excess volume there on the neckline that is gathered into a little facing. I really like that dress. I made it in a chiffon, and it's a beautiful make. I made the same pattern in a bubble crepe, more geared towards winter with long sleeves. At the hem of the sleeves I added a cuff instead of doing a casing with elastic, because I like the look of a cuff and it's not hard to do. At the back you can see I have a center seam and a type of yoke at the back that I added just to make my fabric amount work, and so I could get the garment. I really like this pattern. The boyfriend cardigan is made in an amazing sweater knit. It's like a leopard print but with blue and grey tones. I made it in the original length, have the band slightly narrower. I do have an extra belt there with a belt loop just for decoration basically. It's got a lot of shaping too. It's got a center back seam. It's a really nice cardigan that fits well. This is the Sally skirt from Style Arc. I made it in a stretch denim. The pattern is not for stretch denim. That's why I sized down one size. I should have made a 16 and I made a 14 so that I can have zero ease at the hips with this stretch denim. It's got all the bells and whistles, the pockets, the waistband, everything. And I show you how to sew a curved waistband in the tutorial of this video. Patch pockets at the back, very comfy skirt. Then I made another denim skirt. This is the Danube skirt from Itch to Stitch for non-stretch denim. I have a purple and I love that. It's got slits on the side. I did sew my slits a little bit shorter. I thought the slit was too high up my leg. Lovely pockets. In the video about this skirt, I show you how to sew these pockets, and that applies to jeans, all those types of garments that have these types of curved pockets. You can see how to sew that there. Patch pockets at the back. Just a classic denim skirt. Super love it. This is July and I put an owl here because I've actually seen owls in my backyard. This is the Shemainus top from Itch to Stitch. It's a woven pattern, got a half placket, which is the most important feature, and I show you how to sew that on the video. There's a center front pleat. There is a little shoulder inset and some cuffs on these dolman sleeves. Of course, there's cup sizes and a dart on the side. Bound neckline, a really lovely design, and of course I made it twice. The second one is made in a purple crinkle chiffon. I used the same cotton fabric for these contrast features, which makes it easier to sew and also makes you see them that they're there. So I enjoyed mixing the types of woven fabrics here. One more stable, the other one's satin, chiffons. Those are harder to work with, but the cotton placket cuffs and all of that make the garment easier to sew. The Super G leggings from Green Style Creations are super nice. They have a very nice compressive curved waistband that feels really nice on the tummy. Rise options, I chose the high rise, and there's lots of options for the length of the legs as well. There's no side seam in my version, that's the one I've chosen to make, but you can also choose these optional side panels with pockets where you can put your phone. What I like about it is the large long gusset there that gives you a good range of motion on the inner legs. This is a midway bomber, also from Green Style Creations. I made it in a size extra large with a stable knit. Welt pockets, I show you how to sew those in the video about this one. Rib knit there on the bottom bands, on the cuffs. The collar is very well sewn. The zipper, it's fully lined, this one entirely lined, and it was a great project to sew. I made the Ravinia skirt from Love Notions. I made it in a maxi in 2019. This time I made a short version. I know I'm gonna wear this one more. And I made a little hack on the front with these pockets. I created just one piece on the front that gives you a nice compressive feeling on the tummy, like support pockets inside. Feels amazing. I really like this curved waistband. I used a contrast fabric to make those pockets so that you could see that from behind the opening of the pockets. The Miri wrap dress from Wardrobe by Me. It's got a really comfortable wrap style bodice with a fold-in facing, and the neckline is done in a short collar type construction. The A-line skirt fits really well, the bodice as well. It's such a lovely bodice with that draped feature on the front. The sleeve is just a drop shoulder finished with a sleeve band that is really easy to sew. I made the Rockford raglan in this cotton lycra with a lovely print. I did take this one in a little at the hips because I was sewing the swing style option, and the cotton spandex does not drape, so it was sticking out a little bit too much. I wanted to highlight the raglan sleeves, so I added some red fake piping from a rayon spandex to keep it lightweight and not bulky in those seams. I really like this t-shirt with a V neckline. I think it looks really pretty, and it's something that you can adapt as well. My second one is made out of a stretch lace. I left this one original, it just drapes nicely. I didn't hem this one, I just serged the edges. And to finish the neckline, I used the selvage of the same fabric and used it like a binding so that it matched the same color exactly. I didn't really have any other fabric to do a band or a binding that would match, so that worked out well. The Celeste dress from Itch to Stitch, so nice. The features here, that bodice, the center front seam, that neckline, those little gathers on the center front panel, and those easy to sew pockets make it a really nice dress. It's really comfortable on. You have nice ease at the waist and hips, but it's also very well shaped. The C cup size is awesome with those princess seams coming from the shoulders. They are front and back princess seams. I shortened the skirt to make mine above the knee, and I show you how to sew this whole dress, the bodice, in my video. I made a second version and I made a few changes to the front just because I didn't have enough fabric. I made the front have a center panel that has 2 tiers of gathers. I also made it sleeveless, adapting that armhole for good coverage. All the rest is the same. I made 3 labelladones in the beginning of the year, and by July this pattern was updated and redrafted for the full size range to 5X. This is my wearable muslin. It's a cowl neckline type, and I filmed how to sew that in my video. This is my official tester version, which has the hoodie option. There is a long slim cuff that attaches to that dolman sleeve. I chose this leopard print double brush poly. I lined the hood. It's a really nice top that I can wear when it gets cold here, and I have worn it a lot. After sewing these official versions, I made some hacks. This one is just made out of a lace fabric, stretch lace. I used a simple black binding on the neckline to highlight the neckline. I didn't hem it. I used the bottom detail that the lace had for the hem. For the next one, I had an inspiration of color blocking, so I added a partial center seam on the front and just created extra seam lines and different colors there. It's mainly black, but there is a gray and a white section on the front. For the V neckline, I added a neckband that's not part of the pattern, but totally possible. And the contrast armbands are really nice. This rayon spandex is the same that I used to make the Ravinia skirt that you saw previously, and I added a center panel color blocking with another fabric for that detail. Very, very fun to sew that. The Peppermint Magazine white strap maxi is a dress, but I adjusted it to make it into a top. I raised the neckline. I have good coverage on my chest, and for my bra straps, it's not showing anything on the front or the back like the original would have. I did make a muslin out of this before making this one, so I knew that I had to shorten those straps and raise that neckline. This design has a center front seam, and it needs to be there to get that contoured shape around your bust and your upper chest. The next 2 versions are exactly the same. I just have one in a rayon linen blend, solid color. This is a staple for me because I like wearing red. And the other one is exactly the same in a black rayon twill, little heavier weight. It drapes amazing, keeping all the same features. I had my pattern for the lyric dress I made in 2019 in a size 14. I should have sized up to a size 16 to make it again in a woven, but instead decided to use the same size 14 and make it in a rayon spandex. I eliminated the center front button down feature or the integrated facing went, and I cut them on the fold. I added a V neckband again, just too much, that V shape that this dress has originally, and I sewed all the darts, everything as per usual, the bust darts, the waist darts, and added some binding on the sleeveless armhole. I also made another simplified version of the Vivace dolman. I eliminated the offset center pleat that the original has and just compensated to that lack of ease by adding a little bit of extra width at the hips. When you eliminate that pleat, it's easier to sew that overlap V collar that this pattern has. So if you're studying sewing and you want to try this pattern, maybe you want to try this hack, because it does make it easier to sew without that pleat being there. Also simplified by the fact that I didn't sew on the cuffs on the sleeves. I just did a really narrow hem there on the sleeves. August started with the review week of the Let's Sew Easy Pants series, where I actually sewed 3 pants that I was fitting based on all the fitting videos I had done previously. And these are the Arden pants from Helen's Closet. I made these in a linen rayon blend. I had to make adjustments to the rise and to the length of the legs, and I ended up with beautiful red linen pants. They're very comfortable. They have an elasticated waistband. I really like those slanted pockets on the side. I think they're really nice, and they have patch pockets at the back, which I never skip when I'm making a pair of pants in a solid fabric. I might skip them if it's a print, but if it's a solid, I'll always sew them on. Very happy with this make. This is a free Peppermint Magazine pant, and it was part of a loungewear collection, supposed to be for lounging. But I made the wide leg pants in a crepe, and they turned out a bit more dressy this way. They have an integrated casing on the top for the elastic, so it's extremely easy to sew. I also had to do some adjustments here, and I made some changes to the way these curved pockets are sewn on the inside. All that is in the video tutorial about this pattern. And if you haven't tried this one, I would suggest you try these pants. They are very nice, and they don't have to be for lounging. It just depends on your fabric choice. The next pair I made were the Allegro bottoms from Love Notions. These ones took longer to fit than the others. I think they were just drafted with another body shape in mind, because for these, other than the rise and the length adjustments, I had to fiddle a little bit with the shape of the front and the back crotch curve, just a little bit to get it to fit my body. Love this linen fabric with flowers. I did sew on the patch pockets there, even though it is a print. I had enough fabric, so why not? Itch to Stitch updated the most popular pull-on stretch denim jeans, the Mountain View, to size 40. Previously the size range was up to 20, and so I made a second pair. I had already made one in 2018. Love how they look. They're just like regular jeans without the fuss, no zipper, and a very comfortable curved waistband that is pretty wide and is really nice and supportive on the tummy. I really like these pair of jeans. These feel like you're wearing leggings, and I'm extremely happy with them. I only had to add 1/2 inch of extra length to the back rise. That is all the fitting adjustment I needed. I then made 2 shorts from Sinclair Patterns, the Jakarta shorts. I made the toe file and the longer inseam option, and it hits perfectly above my knee. For other shorts that don't have toe files, I usually end up having to add a lot of length to reach this style of short that is above the knee. That's what I like. I really like those patch pockets on the front. There is also a fake fly top stitched on the front. I did a lot of top stitching in these because they're both made out of linen. They're super pretty. These shorts include a yoga waistband in the pattern, so it's not like a hack. I have these little tabs for decoration. I put them on the back patch pockets, and on the navy pair I put them on the front slash pockets. So very fun makes. I really like these. They fit really well. They're comfy. They are like my summer uniform. I'm always wearing shorts. So hopping over to the upper body now, I have the Elodie wrap dress from Closet Core Patterns. I was a pattern tester, and I had made this dress months and months before I actually filmed it here. It is a fabric hungry pattern that I don't think I would make again. It is very pretty though. It's got a wrap bodice, dolman sleeves. There are some pleats in the bodice at the back and the front. I need a pin here. I actually would need a full bust adjustment. This size draft that I tested in the size 16 is drafted for a B cup, and I'm a C cup. And I do notice that because the crossover is pretty low, and I need a pin so that I don't show my bra. The Uvita top is a free pattern from Itch to Stitch, and I had a lot of fun with it. I made one where I didn't sew on the long sleeves, and I just left it at the drop shoulder level. This is a scrap of rayon spandex I had left over from the Talon dress I made in February. So I used that fabric for the front, and then I used a solid black rayon spandex for the back. And then there I added a little circle flounce, like a little sleeve. I added a neckband on the neckline, very easy to make, and that little flounce just makes it really fun. The other top I made with the Ovita is from a leftover ITY I had. To finish that sleeve there, I just added a little sleeve band, and just to make it more fun, I added a little pleat at the back just for fun, because I had enough width on the fabric I had left over. This free pattern has an add-on. The add-on is always only $5, and it includes hoods, pockets, lots of pieces to add to the Ovita that is free. So I used that one, and I used the hood here and the cuffs to make a hoodie out of this athletic knit. I really like these colors, and I'd made a Balboa skirt in this same fabric before. I really like this hoodie. Also using the Ovita, I just lengthened it into a dress, and I took the flared sleeve that comes in the add-ons pack, and instead of just leaving it flared and hemmed, I added a little cuff. Because the cuff is narrower, it created a little bit of gathers there on the cuff. I think it looks really pretty. This is an embroidered knit. I use a slip under it, and I made this for my anniversary. Lockdown anniversary. We're not going anywhere, just comfortable, nice dress to wear around the house that day. That was fun. This is the Almi blouse from Style Arc for woven fabrics. They need to be lightweight and flowy because of that flounce that is inside that V neckline and covers your shoulders partially. It's a long blouse with a curved hem, and the design is meant to be sleeveless. I really liked sewing this. I sewed it for Patreon actually as a full sew along, and it's so beautiful. The neckline inside is finished with bias tape, and so are the armholes. It's buttoned down at the front with a band and some buttonholes, buttons. There you can see the front neckline, how that flounce is so delicate. I had made a wearable muslin previously because I had the suspicion that I had to raise that armhole just for the coverage that I like based on the pictures that I saw on the Style Arc site. So I made this one out of a crepe without the flounce, and while I was filming this outside for you, I got into a little altercation with a bee. This whole clip with the sound and everything is on my channel on this video. The bee got caught in my hair and stung me on my scalp. The Adeline wrap top and dress is from Forget Me Not Patterns. So many details, diagonal pleats, there's a peplum or a skirt. My peplum, I found it a little bit short, so I did add about 2 inches of length there. The bodice hits my waist. I had to add some length there too, and you can see those pleats at the back, how beautiful they are, and how that is tied there on the side. This is a grey tencel twill, very beautiful. I also sewed the step-by-step for my Patreon page. The back of this top is just glorious, in my opinion. It's very beautiful. I made the Sherry top and dress from 5 out of 4 patterns. This is for knit fabrics, and this green one in rayon spandex was sort of my muslin. I'm not a fan of the color or the fabric, but I wanted to check the fit, and I do like these ties. I sort of figured out what adjustments I needed to make for my final dress, and here it is. I added length above the waist, below the waist, and also blended out to an extra large at the hips so that the dress would skim over my hips instead of looking bodycon style like the other one did. Really pretty dress in this beautiful ITY. This is a beautiful Antrim dress from Itch to Stitch. This one comes in sizes 0 to 40 US, and I made size 14 with a C cup. It's for knit fabrics. It has a wrap style bodice. The bodice itself is short because it goes onto a wide ruched waistband, and then the bottom of that waistband hits the waist. From there you have an A-line skirt. Very beautiful. I played with stripes, matched them on the sides to create chevrons, played with bias cut bodice on the top for a diagonal look. I had a lot of fun with stripes with this one. Here comes the month of September, and you'll see various things here, lots of refashions, lots of hacks, lots of fun. And I started with the Cadence top and dress from Love Notions. I made 4 versions here. I had a lot of fun one afternoon doing these quick hacks. Easy pattern to sew in woven fabrics. This is a basic one. I used a little scrap for this. It's a very thick, heavyweight crepe. I like that it's a border print, so I used bias tape to hem that curved hem, and I sewed it on by hand. If I had done it by machine, it would look terrible, and I've done the same with the neckline and the armholes. Everything is sewn by hand to keep the look nice and neat. This fabric is just too thick. It would have looked absolutely horrendous if I'd done it with the machine. With the next one, I did a bit of fun dart manipulation and took the side bust dart and put all that volume into the shoulders. I also extended the back to come over to the front partially, so there's no shoulder seam at the shoulder. That way the gathers are seen right there in the front and not right on top of the shoulder. Very fun hack. I finished the neckline and the armholes with bias tape. It took no time at all, and I always wanted to have something like this, something different with the same base pattern that I already know fits me. With the next one, it looks very normal in the front, but at the back there is a seam right at the height of my waist there, and at the bottom I added like a little peplum with pleats at the back. Very, very lovely detail. This one is a little shorter. It's also made from a scrap left over from a pair of pants you might have already seen, and there is a curved hem at the back that I did intentionally. I then made the simple Cadence dress, and this is a shift style dress. It doesn't have shaping at the waist, and I added ties on the side seams. The ties are shaped like a triangle, and they make a really nice detail on the front. This is just a crepe in a tie-dye type print. Really lovely. I love doing that. Just makes the dress a little bit different with something extra. Continuing with Love Notions, this is a Sloan sweater, and I have a slit on the side, so it's higher in the front, longer in the back. I just did that for fun, and I have an open slit on the arms. I think that's really cool, and I've got some cuffs there at 3/4 lengths. It's a nice solid top. I like making solid colors, but making sure that the fabric has some sort of texture to add some interest. I then had more fun with the same sleeve, and I made it short, and I drafted it to be like a puff sleeve to have gathers on the sleeve cap and on the hem of the sleeve to be gathered into a little cuff. I left the original curved hem of the sweater. This is an ITY. It's actually more like a t-shirt. It's not a sweater at all, but this is how you can make any pattern really versatile, and you can make anything you want with it. I had already made this one in 2019, so I knew it fit me. So then it was just a matter of having fun and doing some hacks. I really like how that sleeve turned out. I think it's really pretty. And you can find patterns that are drafted with this, but I did it myself. It can be done. I made 2 bunny tops from Style Arc. These are woven patterns, and I actually have a video showing how to do a full bust adjustment on a dolman sleeve. I have a 1-inch full bust adjustment here that generates a dart. I think it improves a bit the fit. I sized down to a 12 because this had so much ease in the design, and it's a very simple top, and I used a very interesting print for it. There is a side bust dart that I added. You can barely see it, but it makes the sides more smooth, and this design has a button down feature but on the back. Also, there's some epaulets there on the sleeves. I then used the exact same pattern but modified it, and I cut the center back on the fold, eliminating the buttons from the back, and I added that same feature to the front. So it looks really cool. This is a chiffon, it's transparent, and I've got the metal buttons down the front. I'm using a solid color, but the fabric has a lot of texture and adds a lot of interest, and that's how I don't get bored when I sew things in solids. I usually like the prints best. I had already made the Antrim dress from Itch to Stitch, the original one with short sleeves, and I wanted to show how you can lengthen the sleeves of any pattern using your arm measurements and your wrist measurements to get a nice fit. Also, I reduced the volume of the skirt so that this peplum isn't too voluminous. So this is a really nice peplum top that is a bit special, made in rayon spandex with white and black print. I really love it. And of course, I had to make the Antrim dress sleeveless. This bodice is lined. I've also shown how to do that, how to convert it to sleeveless, and how to do the binding. And this is an ITY, super floaty and just perfect for this style. I really like how the sleeveless version came out, and I know I always wear more sleeveless things because I'm usually hot. I made a lot of refashions. I've been traveling with old garments for a long time, and this was a linen blouse that was too big for me. I had already used the sleeves for the facings of the Sonata dress I showed you back in February, and I had the body there that was way too big for me, and I basically reshaped it using myself as the mannequin, and I draped darts into there, just reshaped it, made it shorter, kept the original collar and the button down feature, added slits to the side. And this is very good quality linen. It was very good. That's why I saw the value in this garment when I purchased it in the markets in Bolivia. So I'm glad I have this little sleeveless shirt type jacket I can wear buttoned up or over a dress like the Talon dress I have here. Lovely refashion. You can see how to do this on my channel as well, how I achieved this shaping on the side with those darts. I had another black linen garment, and this was actually a size 8 dress or something. It was tiny, it had a very small bodice. Obviously it was not going to fit me, but the skirt was gathered into that bodice, so I had quite a lot of space in that skirt. So I was able to make it short just to hit above my knees and make the widest part of the skirt fit my waist there. With the remaining linen I had from the top of the skirt, I made a lot of patch pockets. I kept the original button band from the skirt that it had, added extra buttons, and added a really comfy yoga waistband. I love this skirt, it's so nice, and again the linen was very valuable. I made 2 pair of pants from Love Notions, the Glissando crops. They are exactly the same, it's just that one is in a brown solid linen and the one you're going to see later is in a print. I converted the button fly to a zipper fly instead. I've never been a fan of button flies for various reasons. So that was really easy to convert using the exact same pattern pieces that the pattern has. These could be jeans almost if they had that back yoke, which they don't. But otherwise it's almost like sewing a pair of jeans, only these are made in linen. I think I got a good fit with the fitting adjustments I made. You can see the back patch pocket, there are some darts on the back as well. The other one is exactly the same, it's just a printed pink and brown crazy linen that I found and I wanted to have crop pants out of, so I made 2 and I really enjoyed that. Around the same time I had 2 other linen tops I wanted to refashion. They both had the same issue, they had no shaping on the side, no bust dart. You can see I've added a bust dart to this brown tank. I basically just took apart the side seams, added the dart by draping it on myself, and then added those little slits. I show you how to drape a dart onto your body if you have tops that have weird diagonal drag lines from the hips pointing up to the bust. And I've paired it here with my pink glissando pants that I've just shown you because they match perfectly. I actually needed something to match these pants, and now I do. And this is a purple one. I did the exact same thing, just undid the side seams, draped a dart onto myself, took away the sleeves. I wanted it sleeveless. I made bias tape from the sleeves I removed and finished the armholes in that way. And the fit is amazing. I love those pin tucks, and you can see the fit of that side buster there is very good. I've paired this with my brown glissando pants. I always wanted to have this outfit with purple boots, the purple top, and the brown pants. I think it looks amazing. If I had the weather to match, I would definitely wear them like that. The glissando pattern also has included a skirt with the same features, the same button fly, the same center seam, the same pockets, everything. It's just that it's a skirt and not pants. I did the same. I did a zipper instead, and I did a lot of top stitching here around the zipper, the center front seam, the curved pockets, everything. I mean, linen begs for that really. So it's the same fabric I used for the pants. I had enough to make a skirt, so why not? It could be the classic denim skirt if you made it out of denim. It's got the same patch pockets at the back that the pants do, and I did add a center back seam to the skirt because I like skirts with a center back seam. This one doesn't have it, so I just added it. Nothing really hard to do there, and I really want to make more of these. These are the typical skirts I will wear all the time. Here you can see it with that brown top I had refashioned and reshaped with a dart. The same one I had paired with the glissando crops. They go perfect with this skirt as well. And the month of October rolls along, and I start with the Tranquil nightwear collection from Love Notions and a polka dot rayon spandex. If I'm gonna make pajamas, they have to be cute because pajamas tend to be quite boring. These have these crossover details on the hems of the pants and the sleeves, which I think are amazing. I've done contrast binding there. I made my own from rayon spandex and sewed it in a reverse way so that it would be visible. I made an extra large top, and for the pants I sized down to a large because I wanted a closer fit with rayon spandex. The Oakley vest from Love Notions is supposed to be for cold weather, made with sherpa or fleece or very cozy fabrics. That's not my context, but I still used one of the options that you can see here and just made a long duster type vest with a rayon twill. I added slits on the side. I added a side buster for shaping. I finished the neckline with bias tape that I made from the same fabric, same as those sleeveless armholes, and I think it's a perfect little cover up I can wear over anything. The other option of the Oakley vest has princess seams and a hood, so I used that pattern piece as my base. I fitted those princess seams to myself and drafted some facings to make this into like a sleeveless blazer as such. Instead of leaving the collar standing, I pressed it in a way that is folded like a lapel. I think it looks really nice. I used the contrast bias binding that I had made from cotton, and it's a lovely little cover up to put over anything. You know, being gray and black and white means it'll go with a lot of the colors that I have in my wardrobe. I can't seem to get enough of the Rockford raglan, and this time I took the view that has a straighter cut, not the swing style, and I transformed the front to have a band, and that just made it into a little cardigan in this black sweater knit. Very basic, but it'll go with everything. And I didn't have a simple cardigan that was shorter, just easy to carry around when it gets cold, especially in air-conditioned areas. I think this would be super handy for me. I've also paired it here with the cadence dress I'd made previously, the one that has extra ties on the waist. I always liked how the upper body and the chest and the sleeves fit of the Rockford raglan, and always thought I wanted to make a little bodice out of that. So I fitted a little bodice to myself using the t-shirt, and then I mashed on the Rhapsody skirt. The Rhapsody blouse has a skirt piece, and I used that to mash it onto this bodice, and it worked. And I've got an elastic inside the casing. It's an awesome dress. I wear it all the time. A bit Love Notions heavy continues with the Terra tunic. I'd never made this one before, and I don't really wear tunics, but I wanted to try. I like all the neckline options, and my favorite is asymmetric. Pulled out my only skinny jeans, and I think I could wear this and be comfortable, but I still prefer shorter or longer. I still think this is an awkward length for me. I'm not sorry I made it though. I really like it in this embroidered knit. The Melody Dolman, as you know, is a pattern I repeat. I made this one with stripes going horizontal and vertical to replace one that I had made for myself, similar to this, but that I gifted my mum. To make the sewing easier, I've shown you how to add a back facing that just makes the collar construction so easy. You can do these in a couple of minutes if you get this technique. Much easier than the traditional way of sewing these collars that involve some snipping inside and some really precise sewing. In the way I'm showing you, it's much easier. The black one's a staple, it'll just go with everything, and I really like that curved hem. You know, you can tie these up if you want. I tend not to tie them up at the front and just wear them traditionally. I just really can't get enough of this pattern, really. I really like it. The Zero Alto from Itch to Stitch. This jacket has got to be the best make out of the year in terms of the complexity and of the results. It took many days to make. It's fully lined. It's full of really nice details. Princess seams, yoke, front and back. It's got an asymmetrical zipper. It's like an elegant moto style jacket. It's got a welt zipper pocket. It's just got lots of things and very fun to sew. Tiny houndstooth suiting in a green and black color. I'm just so proud of this make and how it turned out, how it fits. Everything is just amazing. Continuing with jackets from Itch to Stitch, I made 2 bomber jackets, the Causeway bomber. I made a size 14 with a C cup, and I used a floral crepe here. This pattern has the option of being reversible if you use a reversible zipper because it is fully lined. So if you use another fabric inside, you can wear it inside out if you want. I don't have access to that type of zipper, so mine is not reversible. It is fully lined. Those little details on the center front where you have the main fabric uniting with the rib knit are the only areas that you need to take extra care with. Otherwise, everything is super explained in the instructions, and I have filmed the whole thing if you want to try making something like this for yourself. I really like this to wear in a formal way with a dress or with jeans, and I love that print with navy and flowers. Then I had a dream of making one in chiffon, not recommended fabric, and this was after the test. For this one, I didn't line the sleeves. I only lined the body of the jacket with rayon twill, black, and I used the rib knit, and those colors in that chiffon are amazing with my red ponte dress. It's a dreamed outfit I wanted to have. And of course, this can also be worn with jeans in a more informal way. Really lovely projects. I took my time with them, and I'm very proud of making jackets. I made the Sicily dress from Sewing Patterns by Mason. This is view B, the one that has the thick straps. They are all cut on the bias and have that cowl neckline on the front. For this one, it turned out really short. I thought I'd measured. It is sort of like a mini dress in the original length, so I had added quite a lot and it still ended up really short. I think definitely I will shorten this and just use it as a top, because definitely as a dress it's too short. I made a black rayon twill version and added more length, and now I'm very happy because this is just the most beautiful, elegant dress. It's so nice to wear. It's on the bias, so it has that lovely stretch. I'm very glad I made it. I'm glad I made the mistake with the other one first, because then I could make this one really nice. Back to Love Notions with the Breckenridge Henley. This was a really fun pattern test and a fun pattern. I really like this style. It's a simple knit top, but what makes it special is that Henley that is super easy to sew. This is a solid in a green knit with lots of nice texture. This was my muslin that turned out super wearable, so I'm happy. Then my final make was this top in an athletic knit. I used a contrast denim look jersey. That's a really stable knit for the detail of the Henley. I filmed the full step-by-step of this Henley placket. If you're scared to sew something like this, you will see exactly how to do it and how it's not hard to do at all. Really nice top. I love that neckline. It's just so pretty. For the dress, I chose a tropical print rayon spandex from my stash in orange and green tones. I used the same stable knit for the Henley placket, and for the cuffs, just for contrast, because it actually does match this print as well. And it's just a lovely dress, lovely detail, lovely pattern. This chiffon fabric is so flowy, so beautiful, and it became the Norma blouse from Fiber Mood. There was a little challenge where you had to hack it, so that is all fun for me. I took away that center front feature with buttons and just cut the front on the fold, and at the back I created a seam at the height of my waist and added a little piece that's gathered but only in the back. The sleeves are flared and were supposed to be gathered into a cuff, but because the fabric is so floaty, I decided to just hem it like that and leave it. I finished the neckline with bias tape that I made from the same fabric, and it's just so beautiful. Pattern Union, which is a pattern company from Australia. I chose to make the Phoebe pants. It's a free pattern, and they are straight legs, wide legs, so I eliminated the side seams of these pants and made a seam on the center of the leg instead with long slits. It's rayon twill, it's super floaty, and I'd always wanted to have pants like this. There's an extension pack for the free Phoebe pants, and those are the flares, and they have a section on the side of the leg that is gathered, and I used a rayon, and it's so floaty, so nice. This is also an equivalent to a maxi skirt for me. I would always wear these types of wide leg pants with something fitted on the top, and very nice project, super different to put that insert there that is gathered on the side of the leg. To finish the month, I made the Serenity sweater from Love Notions that had a sizing update, and I added a neckband. This neckline originally is finished by folding it in, but I wanted my sweater to not be a sweater. It's too hot for that. I wanted it to be a light top that I could just... A lot of the makes from November are from the So Beautiful book that Kenneth wrote, From Each to Stitch, but I start with a Soraya jacket from So Over It. This was a very involved project I made for Patreon. It's made with linen. This jacket has 1,000 details, storm flaps, notch collar, lots of things that are extras for decoration, epaulets, little cuffs, lots of things. The welt pockets turned out to be not very functional. It is a very nice jacket, but I had to do so many fitting adjustments for it to fit me well. There were some areas here in the construction that were extremely bulky. I bound all the raw edges inside, every single thing. It's very neat. It's self-made bias tape. The storm flaps aligned with a lighter lining fabric to create less bulk. And then we delve into the So Beautiful book. Love this book, love the patterns, and the first one is the Mornington dress. I made 3 here. I made a top with this purple crepe. I show you how to line this using the burrito method. It's super clean and easy to do. It makes it easier because there is a center back seam actually, and you get the best V neckline that is so neat with this technique. I really like it. Then I made the dress in the same technique that the purple version has for lining. This one is self-lined. I have 2 layers of the same chiffon. I still have to wear a slip underneath. And I have to mention all my views are sleeveless. There is a flutter sleeve available, and I really love that tie that goes sewn onto the side seams and ties up at the front. I think it's really pretty. With the black and white crepe version, I show you how to sew a V neckline binding instead of lining it. So that's an option if you don't want to line the dress and if you just want to finish that V neckline nice and simple. It is a little bit fiddly but not hard, and I show how to do it in extreme detail, so you can try that for yourself on this project or many others that have a V neckline. The Taxan dolman is supposed to wrap over and have a sash, have facings, but I simplified mine and made it with a textured type of crepe, and I just made mine as a light cover up. I kept the same shape, it's just that I finished the edges of the neckline with bias tape made from the same fabric, and I also made the sleeves significantly shorter so that I could just wear it in the summer, in the hot weather, on top of anything, and this will go over a lot of things. The Prague top and dress has a cold shoulder detail, and for the dress it's a swing style. I made a top in a double brush poly and just played with the stripes. It's really easy to finish the cold shoulder detail. It's just like adding a neckband but on the shoulders. I do show how to sew that, and because I know that cold shoulders aren't for everyone, I show you how to fill in the gap and modify the pattern piece so you can have a regular sleeve. And that's what I did with my second version. For this one I used scraps. I made the top half in one fabric and half in another matching one. There is a V neckline option and a round neckline option. I just did the round ones in this opportunity. Then comes the Carlsbad cardigan. I also have a full sew along on this one. It's a very easy to sew cardigan with a waterfall front, several mitered corners. The neckline is finished super neatly, as is center front, and the hems in one continuous seam, and very nice in this black and white sweater knit. Goes with everything. And then I also made another one, the sleeveless version, in this purple ponte. I have to mention, for this collection of patterns from the So Beautiful book, I'm using a purple color palette. That's why you see a lot of purple here. I really love the Mornington dress with this cardigan together. I think it's really pretty. The Fortuna joggers has a slim leg version and a wide leg version, and I made this one in a French terry that's made out of rayon. It's got a lot of spandex, so it's very stretchy and drapey at the same time. Straight legs, super comfortable. I did sew the patch pockets that are on the back. Instead of putting the elasticated waistband with an elastic, I added a yoga waistband. I had been saving my very special fabric for about 10 years from New Zealand. It's a jacquard rayon fabric in purple and grey, and I made the castle point skirt. This has a wrap over in the front, asymmetric hem, higher in the front, lower in the back, but it's all curved. And it's got a flat front elasticated waist. Super comfortable. It's a pull-on skirt, and I've got it paired there with my Mornington top. I made another one in a light denim. It's not the heaviest of denim, and it's grey, so it'll go with everything. And with this one I did a hack to the waistband. I have a flat front, but the section at the back that has an elasticated waistband, supposedly, I modified that to have a yoga waistband. So I have a half flat front with the denim, and the back is a yoga waistband. So very comfortable. Also, it's pull on. The Palermo top and dress is beautiful. It's for woven fabrics. It's got a center front seam and raglan sleeves, neckline that is gathered. It's got a little slit in the center of the neckline, and it's meant to be made with woven fabric, sort of peasant style. The last pattern of the book is the Orosi top and dress, and I have to say this is my favorite. It's got a semi-fitted bodice with a curved seam on the center front. It's shorter than on the sides, and then it's got a gathered skirt. I made this in an ITY, very beautiful. I did line this bodice, and I show you how to do that crossover V neckband. That is easier to do than the traditional neckband. Super pretty. The best pattern of them all is in this pattern. There is a version with a scarf collar, and that's what I've done in this black rayon spandex with a purple contrast knit as the scarf. So beautiful, so unique. It's the same bodice, it's just that it's a little shorter peplum instead of the skirt that was longer with the dress. Very beautiful, and you know, I think this is the best pattern in the whole book, the scarf collar option. I made two Cambria tops from Green Style Creations. This is a pattern for knit fabrics with a lot of sleeve options. The sleeve cap can be regular, have pleats or gathers, and then they all gather into a cuff, whether it be long or short. Lots of neckline height options. I always choose the lowest scoop neckline because it's what I like. I have a blue one in rayon spandex, and then I have a red one in an athletic knit. This one has a longer slim cuff sewed onto the 3/4 length sleeve, and I think they're just beautiful tops. Then comes a Mila shirt from Itch to Stitch, a beautiful pattern full of details, a classic shirt with a half placket. I had fun mixing the types of woven fabrics here. I had a very lightweight chiffon for the main body and the sleeves, but for the contrast pieces and the ones that require a bit more precision in techniques, I used a shirting that's a blend of cotton and linen. Very beautiful fabric. It is not heavyweight, and it's got the structure those elements need. I love doing the half placket, the collar stand, the collar, the bust pocket, the cuffs, all of those features in this contrast. I think it makes the shirt look cool as well, just make details pop. And in the tutorial for this video, I show you how to sew that continuous bound vent that these sleeves have, along with the little pleats and the cuffs. All the detail there of the bottom of the sleeve, very delicate, that you'll see in a lot of women's blouses. To end the month, I made the Alana dress from Sinclair Patterns, a size 16 in the tall file. Love this knit, and I love the shape of those pockets, slanted. I decided to make the side panels with the princess seams in a contrast fabric, just so that the details of the seam lines could be seen, the details of these pockets. Now, I really dislike pockets. I barely ever sew them, but pockets like these I do like because they are pretty and they don't add bulk to the hips or anything. Very pretty. I would never use them to put things inside, but for decoration, for sure. The princess seams and the cut of this dress are amazing. I feel super special in it. Very beautiful dress, and it's easier to sew than what you would think, than what it looks like. I show you how to do that in my video. And we're ending the year with a picture of a beach. That's where I'd like to be, but I can't. And December started with the Pine Cove pajamas from Itch to Stitch. I first made a satin version and showed them the sleeves and the pants. Originally these have long sleeves and long pants, but Kenneth allowed us to do this in the pattern test, so why not? This is my summer version. I did the contrast band with a rayon twill. Very interesting design for a pair of PJs. There's no buttons or zips or any of that. There's just a little tie on the side and another one inside. Very comfortable to wear and just pretty pajamas. If I'm gonna make them, they have to be pretty. And I do show you how to sew the whole thing in my video. That collar might look a little bit complex, but it really isn't. So really enjoyed that one, and I love the print on this satin. I then went and made the original pair, you know, long sleeves, long pants, and I chose a rayon twill for the top in a plaid. I'm warming up to plaid. I think I could only wear it in pajamas and only on the top. I could not be dressed head to toe in plaid. My pants are the same pajama pants from the pattern, just in a rayon twill. They fit amazing. I could wear these out too, so bonus. I had a lot of fun matching the plaids on the center, on the sides, everywhere, just making everything match and be super neat. I put the little patch pocket that is on one hip and I cut it on the bias. It's interfaced to make it more stable. I really like these pajamas. They are super cool, super pretty. Continuing with loungewear, I made some robes from Love Notions, the Compose robe. This one's available for kids too, and it's designed to work with knits and woven. So the black one is an embroidered knit that I made. I made the one that just hits the knee and has the normal neckbands. There is a hood option. There is a belt there, and it's a really different robe because it's not made out of fleece or anything cozy. I live in hot climate. I wanted something light that could also work as outerwear. If I just wear this in a different way, I could just put a dress underneath and some heels, tie that belt at the back, and no one will know it's a robe because of the type of fabric. I made the same robe pattern in a satin, so it's the same size, everything is just a satin. I didn't have enough to make the band in the same fabric, so I chose a contrast rayon twill, and I actually like that because rayon twill is not shiny, it's just matte, so I like that fabric next to my skin and my face rather than having something shining next to my face like satin. There's always a sheen there. I chose to feature the Vivace dolman in the Love Notions blog, and it's because I had wanted to do a tutorial on how to match stripes, so that's why you see me doing this type of garments. I usually do not make stripes go horizontal. This is a rare exception because I wanted to do the tutorial, but I do like the width of these stripes. It is an exception I was willing to make, and I do like how this Vivace dolman turned out. Very detailed how to match the shoulder seams and the side seams when you're cutting out your fabric. And I made the contrast in another structured knit. I just like that neckline to be seen, and I didn't really want to play with the stripes there. I made another dress in a vertical print rayon spandex, and with this one my goal was to film a tutorial on how to create a long piece extension for this dolman sleeve. This tutorial can work for any short dolman sleeve pattern you have that you might want to add a sleeve that fits perfectly into it. And it's not just drafting a rectangle, believe me, there is a little bit of science to it, but it's not hard, and you can see the full detail in my tutorial. Really like this one too. I made the free button dress from the Peppermint magazine, and this is a tiered dress. It's got 2 tiers, sleeveless. The neckline and armholes are finished with bias tape. There's a basta. I chose one of the worst fabrics in the world, and that is crinkle rayon. It just grows everywhere. Not that it's hard to sew, it's just that you can't predict how much it's going to grow vertically and horizontally, which can result in a huge garment. But I did pair it to this style because this style is oversized, very loose, very easy wearing around the waist and hips. So if it grew a lot, it didn't really matter because it's the style with the gathers and the tiers. I think it is perfect for design because it's super flowy, it's not too voluminous, but my bodice ended up a tad lower than my natural waist. I made the holly dress from Fiber Mood when the pattern was free last month for a few days when they have their social sew-alongs, and I made a holiday dress that I have absolutely nowhere to wear it to. It's the most interesting chiffon that has these little vertical stripes in a metallic sort of thing in different colors, so when the light hits the fabric it just looks really interesting. I love these sleeves that are wider at the bottom, gathered into a cuff. This pattern also has a continuous bound vent. You can see how to do that in the Mila shirt video. It's the same technique. And there is a high collar that has a gathered neckline into the collar, and I'll show you in detail how to sew that. Recently bought several Butterick and McCall's PDF patterns, and this is the first one I made from that haul. Butterick 6765 is a woven top with an asymmetric crossover front that ties on the side. That overlay is cut on the bias, and I chose a snake print just because of the vertical features on the print. I show you how to sew this one, how to do the overlay, how to hem it, how to put the ties. It's a very comprehensive tutorial there, and I really like how this top turned out. And to end the year, I made a beautiful pattern from Sinclair Patterns, a Nyoka crossover dress and top. I cut the bodice pieces on the bias so I could have those chevrons on the front and look really interesting with those stripes going across. And then the peplum, I cut it with the stripes going horizontal. And instead of doing the V neckline binding, I just drafted my own neckband because I thought that was going to work better with the rib knit. Then for the dress, I saved my most wonderful fabric. This is an athletic knit, flower print with a navy background. I made the dress with the A-line skirt version, sleeveless. By the way, today is the last day you can get the Nyoka 20% off. I think it's $7.99 through tonight. And I show you in my video how to sew the whole thing, the crossover bodice, anything that you might think is too hard, I show you how to do it, including the knit V binding that is super neat and is a technique I will be adopting to use in other patterns later on when I want to do a V neckline in a stable knit. This has got to be one of the most beautiful dresses I've ever made. I feel amazing in it. Like I said in my video, I feel super pretty, like $1 million in this dress, and that feeling is amazing to have when you sew something for yourself. So I'm really happy, and I'm glad to finish the year on such a high note, feeling so amazing about a make. For the few of you who have made it all the way down to December, I am glad you're still here with me. I am telling you, this took, I can't even count how many eye-watering hours to edit, but I'm glad I did it, and it's good to have some sort of documentation of the whole year in sewing. It's always nice to see everything that has been done, and it makes me think about what I'm going to do this year as well. Probably be the same amount of sewing if I'm honest. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which of the ones that I've shown you have made or you're planning to make. I'm really interested in knowing, and I will see you again with another video very soon. Bye and happy sewing.